Hello, Outlanders, and welcome to another edition of Dev Talks, the first one of 2024. And today, I'm very delighted to have a guest that needs no introduction, but we're going to do so anyways. Today, we have with us Anjanette, or Forsythia, as you might know her within the community, and she's our senior community manager. So, hello, Forsythia. Thank you for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Awesome. So you are our community manager. So why don't you just give us a brief introduction into what it is you do on a day-to-day basis?
Ooh, okay. I'm gonna try and give a brief overarching summary, I guess. So as senior community manager, I check in with the community and due to that assess how the communication should go forward with the community. I also plan how the social media posts would look like, not just for the day, but for the month. And we also try to keep in mind the special events that happen in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So, aside from all that, I'm also the bridge between the community managers and the community to the devs so that the devs know what the community is talking about and thinking about.
Yeah,
So, their wants, their needs, their feedback, their hopes and dreams, I pass it on.
that's very important to have somebody like this. Now, a lot of people might think that a community manager is like quote unquote an easy job. But you and I both know that's not the case. So maybe if you would like to kind of dive a little bit deeper into some misconceptions of people that might have about the position and some of the difficulties that actually are involved within this part of the job.
So, as you said, a lot of people think it's easy, and I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions. But interestingly enough, this misconception just doesn't come from the community. It may also come from the development side of the team.
Hmm.
So they might think, it's all right, you could just tell the community this. And you just ask, well, how am I supposed to make it not sound so painful or make it
Mm,
sound better without making it seem very hurtful for the community or something overly negative?
yeah.
So weighing the options of how to communicate on both sides, from the community side to the devs
Hmm.
and vice versa, it's a challenge. A lot of people think it's easy and they think that it just, you have to say everything at face value, which is absolutely not the case. You have to
Yeah.
think it through always. And another tough thing I would say is work life balance, mostly because working with social media, you don't just, a lot of us just don't do it for work. We also use it for our personal lives.
Right.
So it can be kind of tough, when you're off work and then you're scrolling on social media and you're like, oh, there's this thing that's happening on Twitter or on Facebook. Or, well, it's not Twitter anymore, it's X now. But
Yeah. Yeah.
if something's happening there, and then I get this itch where I'm like, I need to respond to this person because I don't want them to feel upset or I don't want them to wait.
Yeah, but it's like off working hours, and then you have this
Exactly.
internal like,
It's this internal battle of like, do
yeah,
I want to respond, but I also have to be disciplined because I'm not working anymore. I'm supposed to be having dinner. Why am I not cooking dinner yet? What's
yeah,
going on? So yeah, work life balance is kind of tough. And also, aside, like, as a part of that work life balance thing, it's also making sure that you don't take everything the community says to heart. A lot
mm,
of them say, oh, why don't the community managers focus on fixing the game instead of making social media posts? And I'm like, dude, I am not a programmer. I am not a technical designer or a scripter. I
yeah,
cannot fix the game.
yeah. Different jobs for different positions, and
Exactly. It's my duty to report what's happening within the community to the devs, and I've done my deed. And it's my job to engage with the community and get them talking, collect the feedback,
right.
not to actually tinker with the game. I don't think we want to see non programmers or non technical designers tinkering with the game. I don't
Yeah,
know how that would
obviously,
go.
obviously. Another, I guess, one of the most difficult things is understanding that when the community is saying fix the game or do this, or it would be so easy if you would do A, B, or C, or X, Y, Z, we know, because we're behind the scenes, we know that it's not as easy as it sounds. And I think from my experience as well, some of the most difficult things is the community not realizing all the work and all the preparation that needs to go beforehand to introduce one small, simple feature.
Oh yeah, for sure. Sometimes we have this joke where we're like, "Where's the big red button?" Because a lot of people are like, "You should just fix it. Just connect this and connect that. It's done." And I'm like, "Great. Where's the button that we could just press and
Yeah.
fixes everything without causing any other troubles in the future? Where's that button? I want that. That would make everyone's lives easier, I think."
Mm, that is so true. Yeah, I think if the community would have an understanding of how game dev actually works, that basically when we release something in a season, that means that feature was done months in advance, months prior to that, and it's already been done, it's been passed to QA, it's being tested, it's being like getting ready for that season. Meanwhile, we're already working on the next season and the next feature. So retrospectively, we don't have enough time to actually go back and fix stuff that were done 3 months or 6 months in advance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but our team, I think they're very dedicated in still gathering that feedback in advance,
Mm-hmm.
and they are made aware thanks to the community managers, thanks to the marketing team. We just pass the feedback on straight away to the devs, especially with the help of our partners who get to see the preview build, for example,
Mm-hmm.
or um, yeah, we just make sure to pass it on in advance, and sometimes it can get fixed on time, sometimes it may take a while. It really depends on how complicated the issue is.
Right, right. And you would say the most difficult part is to communicate how the devs or how our team wants to implement a certain feature to the community from their perspective, because we've seen it and we've seen examples of us in our best intentions trying to implement something that wasn't received in the way that we hoped it would.
Are you talking about those anti-camper mortars? Because I that's like
There's,
just
yeah,
yeah.
like those mortars are one of them. The other thing is that comes to mind is like radiation grenade.
Oh yeah.
When we introduced it, we had an idea of how it could be used, and we saw that it was used in a completely different way that we didn't expect.
Our community is a really witty bunch. I feel like whenever we envision something and it happens, but along with a sprinkle of extra, oops, we didn't plan that.
Hmm.
I think that that's always very interesting for us as community managers to encounter and try to relay that onto the devs and try to get past that wall of disbelief that hits the developers first and they're like, no way, no bloody way they've done that. And we're like, oh, heck yeah, here's a video, dude. And they're like, oh no, we didn't plan for that. Oh crap, what do we do? And so that's when the ball gets rolling, though, on the feedback. So
Hmm.
I would say that even though it's something that we don't always anticipate, it's something that I quite enjoy. I feel like some surprises here and there are good.
Yes, they are. It's kind of like a bit of a win-lose situation. So like you win some, you lose some, but on the other hand, you discover things in terms of gameplay that you never thought could be possible. And that's all because of the community, that they have like so many creative ways to use the features and the consumables and the weapons that we introduce into the game.
Oh yeah, they definitely keep us on our toes, not just like us as community managers, but I think the development team as a whole. It's always interesting to see what they've got behind the
Definitely.
scenes. Sometimes they do stuff that we aren't even aware of, and we have to dig for info like crazy.
Mm.
And I think one more thing that might be a little bit tough for a community manager is someone tells us of a problem, and we're like, oh, we're really sorry. Can you tell us how that happened? Also, do you have a clip by any chance? And they're like, what do you mean? Why can't you just fix the problem? And I'm like, dude, we kind of got to look at what happened so we can try and reproduce it. And it isn't always something we can reproduce, even on our side. So we got to have this info. But sometimes it's a really touchy subject for some people, depending on the issue, and they just kind of
Mm.
don't want to help out, which hurts us in a way because we're trying to be helpful and we're trying to be friendly about it. We're trying to get information. But I understand that when you're really passionate about a game, much like our community, you kind of just get frustrated and you don't want to help. But I would hope that our community understands better why we're asking for so many details. It's not because we're trying to make it tedious for you. It's just we're trying to get you to help us help you, you
Yeah,
know.
exactly. That's the thing. It's help us help you, because right now, I guess we're lacking the way that we could get that info ourselves, which is why we're asking our community to report any like issues, bugs, and the specifics of those issues and or bugs, so that we
Exactly.
can actually investigate, see if we can reproduce it, and then crush the bug and solve the issue.
hmm I gotta say though that sometimes it hurts when the bug is so niche that we just can't seem to reproduce it, and sometimes it affects only a small handful of people. And then
Yeah.
it kind of it. I feel like that's something that makes me sad as a community manager, where like you just I want to help them, I want to
Mhm.
do something for them, but I can't because we've kind of reached a wall that we can't get over because there's something else that we're not seeing. There's something we're missing, and sometimes the players have given us all the information that they could, but there's something in the puzzle that's just missing. So hopefully, we can try and work further with those issues as well, because I feel like everyone in the community should feel heard and seen. And it kind of sucks when there's a small issue that's only affecting, like, I don't know, a really small percentage of people, and then they get upset and then they're very vocal about it.
Yeah, because usually the people who are vocal are the people who are affected, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you encounter a problem and it persists and you've asked for help and you cannot seem to get an answer of why it's happening and how you can fix this, obviously, yes, it's frustrating. You're going to get upset, and we understand that. But sometimes, it just
It
sucks that
just, yeah.
there's nothing else that we could do.
And sometimes it takes time, but as a community manager, that's what we are trying to be the cushions. We're trying to cushion the blows.
Hmm.
So hopefully, our community understands a bit better why we say the things we say or why we ask for extra info. It's not to annoy you, but I understand. It really all boils down to passion. I think that
Hmm.
myself and our other community managers are very passionate about our jobs and trying to help out. And the community is just very passionate about the game, and they're ready and rearing to go to tell us everything that they think. So,
That's true. So like what would you say? Okay, let's say that in terms of like community management, right? Some of the most frustrating or disappointing moments for you would be these things where you feel like you cannot do anything for the community and you cannot help them out. But on the other hand, what would you say is like the most satisfying moments of the job?
oh, dude, I really enjoy it when there's a tricky issue. It happened quite a lot before I became a senior community manager. I was more of a regular or a middle community manager or a junior, and we would get complaints about issues like, hey, one of my guns, I can't see past the scope, or like the
Hmm.
sights, what's going on? My gloves are blocking it. And I asked them for a lot of details, like just in one go. What gloves were you wearing? What outfit were you wearing? What gun was it? Was there a skin on the gun? Where was it happening? Only in the shelter and the shooting range. I think that I was very proud of how independent I was in trying to investigate what was going
Hmm.
on with the player. And I was able to do it in a very smooth way that the player was able to cooperate with me very easily through social media. And when we got the info, finally, I was able to pass it on to our devs, and they figured it out very quickly that, like, oh man, it's something with the gloves and the outfit. Oh no, we got to do something about that.
Oh,
So
okay.
it was a very quick, like, couple of hours thing. Like,
Hmm.
I had found out about the issue at like 1 p.m. on a Wednesday or something, and then we got it to the devs by like 3, and they knew about it and they were already working on a fix, and it went out really quickly after that. I think about a
Damn.
week later. But that was in the very early days of Vigor, I think.
Hmm.
I do believe that something I miss is interacting more in a hands-on approach with the community, because as a senior, I'm doing more high-level planning stuff,
Right.
like planning the streams and who's going to be there, what are we going to talk about, is this appropriate, is it tone deaf, is it not a good idea.
Hmm.
So I think that I really do miss just interacting with the community sometimes and sending them funny gifs and funny emojis and memes. I feel like that's the golden stuff right there.
Yeah, there's a few people, like I guess when you have these like banters, with the
Mm-hmm.
community, or like with the members of the community that can like they can dish it out, but they can also take it, like the
Yeah.
banter and whatnot. So we also try to keep a more relaxed and friendly and chill tone with our community. I remember also me in like the very first couple of months when I started working here, I was also doing like a little bit of community management, like answering some comments here and there, just like trying to keep it light and casual, not too businessy, but like tell them like while still maintaining that, we're a game, we're representing the game when we're talking, when we're replying to comments, but you still can
There's
keep
some
it
wiggle
light.
room.
Yeah,
I'm
there's
really
some wiggle
pleased
room.
about that. The wiggle room is great, and I really enjoy these interactions between us community managers in the office. And you're part of them too sometimes, dude. Like,
Yeah.
where we're like, is this too spicy? Is this like coming across as too tough? Should we do something about it? And it's an interesting brainstorm.
Yeah,
And
sometimes we get into our own heads a little bit with
yeah,
the
the rabbit
with
hole.
the tone. Yeah.
The marketing rabbit hole of
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
is
yeah.
it too much? Is it not enough? How snappy should I be? It
Yeah.
it feels like sometimes I feel like when we're working in our office, it feels like a scene out of a sitcom. I don't know. I'm waiting for the audience to clap.
Or the Office theme to start
Oh
playing.
yeah. But a lot of people in the community tend to forget that this is a job for us. A lot of them, and I think that it also works in our favor that we're very relaxed and chill whenever we're talking to the community, because I think they need a reminder sometimes that we're humans and that we have emotions and this is our livelihood. We have a
Hmm.
job, we have to fulfill some targets, and interacting with them is one of it. But
Yeah.
like, we have lives, we have to go home, we have to eat, we have emotions. And I feel like sometimes the community is just like, oh, they're just people behind the screen and
Yeah, like,
they don't matter.
yeah, yeah.
Or like, because of AI taking over right now, a lot of people might even think like these devs are bots. They don't even say anything real. They're just robots. And it's like, no, it was me. I was saying that. So
Yeah.
it's kind of funny sometimes, but also something to remember as a community manager that like, hey, sometimes people just forget that life is a thing and that you're a human too. So
Also, like, another thing is, like, we don't make the decisions. When we give out information to the community, we're not the ones making these decisions. We're
we're the
not
messenger.
Yeah, we are not the ones who decide what goes on or what doesn't go on into the game. Like, yeah, at the end of the day, it's a business decision, right, guys? Like, the game needs to fulfill certain requirements, right? It's true that it's a free to play game, but at the same time, like, we're also working for it. So, like, that means we also need to get paid. So I understand some of the frustrations, but at the end of the day, it's not forcing you to buy anything to help your progression that would make you stand out more than others.
Mhm.
At the end of the day, you can kill with a gun, whatever gun, but you can kill somebody.
It can be a challenge sometimes depending on the gun, but you just gotta get used to what guns you
Yeah.
appreciate the most and you feel like you're good with. But I understand, yeah, like the whole monetization part of the game can be a bit tricky or finicky for our players. But again, I understand why some people would be upset, because they're just way too passionate about the game. And I really appreciate that, because we need those passionate Outlanders. But that's why we as community managers try to remind some of our players, like, hey, so we know you don't like it, but we're going to pass it on to our team, and we totally understand the frustration. Because in some cases, I do agree with the community with other sentiments, like not radio, sorry, the radiation grenades. They're quite OP. And I know that it really hurts, especially when I play on bridges and the grenade is all the way at the bottom of the ground, but I'm all the way up on the bridge and then it hits me. It kind of sucks. And I get that sentiment too. So, we're there for the community and we're there for our developers. We're literally the middle ground or the messenger.
So, yeah, keep in mind, guys, don't shoot the messenger next
Please,
time.
please, no shooting the messenger.
Don't shoot the messenger. If we can take just like a quick detour from all like work stuff, let me just ask you, like, how did you get into game dev and community management for Bohemia?
Okay. I was a very avid gamer, and I still am a very avid gamer. I enjoy playing video games in my free time. And I moved to the Czech Republic from Dubai so that I could study university here. And I decided to move to Brno because of my university was here. And I was trying to make ends meet. I wanted to have my own financial freedom, so I was working part-time in different places, like as a journalist, as an editor, content creator, etc. And I saw that there was an internship in Bohemia Interactive for community management. And I was at that point where I really missed using social media because I had elevated myself so much that I was working for like LinkedIn copies and press releases, and I
Yeah,
felt like they were a
yeah.
little bit too stiff for my liking at that point in time. I
Oh, too
wanted some
businessy, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
wanted something more loose,
yeah,
more
yeah.
fun, and I was so lucky to see that Bohemia Interactive was looking for an intern for community management, and I was like, heck yeah, I miss social media, let's go. And I applied, and I was lucky enough to get in with my copywriting and marketing background, and I
Mm-hmm.
was doing my bachelor's degree in international relations and European politics, and I finished it while I was working at Bohemia. And then I moved on to my master's, and I continued to stay here because I really enjoy the environment and I love Vigor, I love gaming. So it was just the perfect, best of both worlds kind of thing where I can work and enjoy what I'm doing.
That's amazing. That's really something that not everybody can afford to have. So
I'm hella lucky, and I know
yeah,
that.
yeah, it's very heartwarming when you do something that you love because sadly not everybody has the chance to do that. So for you guys listening, if you're doing something that you love, just cherish it, you know?
And if you're not at it yet, then don't worry, you can work your way towards it. Because
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine myself working in game dev when I started. I thought I was going to be a diplomat. Or, I mean,
Mm.
okay, now I kind of, yeah, I guess like being a community manager is in a sort of way kind of like a diplomat, but it's a different kind of diplomat.
Yeah, yeah.
But like, yeah, I didn't imagine myself in game dev. I was just trying to make ends meet, and I was trying to find a job that interested me, and I knew that it would help pave my career towards something that I enjoy. And I enjoyed social media, I enjoy talking with people, I enjoy communicating with them and trying to figure out what makes them tick.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I got here.
That's amazing. That's so cool.
You can always work towards what you want, you just gotta set your heart to it, and sometimes with a bit of luck you're gonna get there.
Yeah, definitely. Just there's a plan for everyone. Just keep at it. If you guys aren't there, just like be patient and you have patience and you're gonna get there. And for people who are there, just hold on to
Keep at
that.
it,
Yeah,
dude.
keep at it, appreciate it, because not everybody's so lucky. And moving on, you said you're an avid gamer. What have you been playing lately that you're like really psyched about?
Okay, I'm playing Papers, Please right now. It was a game that came out way back, like in 2013, but when it came out in 2013, I was in high school, I was a
Mm-hmm.
teenager, I didn't have the financial freedom to do whatever video game, buy whatever video game I wanted. So now I saw it on Steam and I was like, heck yeah, I need to play that. It's a stressful game, but it's so satisfying. And I don't know, I feel like there's something funny here about what I studied in university, like international relations and European politics, and then you play as a border guard in Papers, Please, where you're like checking if they have all the right documents, if they look the same on their passport. And then as
Is
the
that what it is? Is that the
yeah,
premise?
yeah, and like as the levels progress, it gets harder and harder, and there are more like specificities. They're like, so from this country, you can't accept these people from these specific districts, and
Uh-huh.
they also have to have this vaccination card, and they need to have an entry permit, and their fingerprints need to match, and it's just like, it's a stressful game, but weirdly enough, I really enjoy it.
You get to understand bureaucracy, right?
Oh no, like as a foreigner living in the Czech Republic, Czech bureaucracy is really painful. So
Yeah,
you're a foreigner too, but you're kind of in a better boat than me because you're from the European Union.
a little bit, yeah, but still,
It still hurts.
it's still a pain, but I think it's more or less everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Bureaucracy, it's a pain pretty much everywhere. Unless it's like a country that has everything like fully digitized, I think like
Back at home in Dubai, I hella miss that, but I
well,
still would choose to live here though in Czech Republic. I enjoy my friends who are basically my chosen family. I enjoy the life here. I enjoy what I do. So I'm gonna stay here, don't worry. I do miss like how digital everything is in Dubai and how
mhm.
everything's super quick, but I love game dev and I love being here. So
Same here. Yeah, Czech Republic is a pretty awesome country to be in, and the game dev scene, it's like been picking up quite rapidly in the last
yeah,
few years with a
yeah.
bunch of studios opening up and really good games coming out of the Czech Republic.
Honestly, like now that you mentioned the Czech Republic and game development, I remember in high school playing a Bohemia Interactive game, Daisy. I was a Daisy player when I was younger.
Ooh, okay.
And dear God, if we went back to 2012 and like you went and told me, hey, look, you enjoy Daisy, but you know what? You're gonna work with the company that made them one day, and I'm here now and my mind is just hella blown.
Yeah.
Like when I joined Bohemia Interactive, I went and told my friends from high school and they were like, "What the hell? How did you get there? How did that happen?" And I'm like, "Heck yeah, I'm here.
Mhm.
Suck it."
Pat on the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said you've been playing Paper Please lately.
Papers, please, yeah.
Papers, Please. But what would you say is like your favorite game of all time, or like one of
Borderlands.
Borderlands?
Anything from the Borderlands franchise.
Nice.
Kind of with the exception, though, of Tales from the Borderlands. I think that came out just last year.
Mhm.
I feel like they kind of swerved away from the essence of Borderlands as a franchise and the stories and the characters. I mean, it's just like Tales from the Borderlands. It feels like they made a game and they just tied it to Borderlands because it's easy to get
because of
the
title.
interest. Yeah.
IP, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I enjoy Borderlands, everything from Borderlands, especially Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, because I enjoy Dungeons and Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
And Tiny Tina's Wonderlands is basically D&D, but on Borderlands.
That's cool. I'm more of a like I've always been more of like a ARPG or like an MMO player. I love these like fantasy settings, and shooter games were always like my weak point. And that's why I usually suck at Vigor, or like I usually go for like the looter strategy. I don't want to get into situations where I need to shoot myself out of.
Yeah, it's a sticky situation. You don't want to be in that.
I'd rather just like get in, loot whatever I need, and get out.
Get the hell out quickly now.
Yeah. So before we go, as a few parting words and a little bit of advice, what would you say to people who aspire to get into game dev, or people who think that a community manager position would be like a gateway into game dev where they could like further progress down the line? So like, what would be your advice to them?
I think, aside from what we said earlier, which was keeping at it and just keep aiming for where you want to go, I think that I would tell someone who wants to get into game dev that they can continuously work on their skills for game dev without even knowing that they're working on it. I think in game development, you don't only need technical skills or knowledge, you also need people skills and soft skills. You're gonna have to learn how to address situations that might be uncomfortable. You're gonna have to learn how to read the room and see if it's the right time to bring something up. So I think that aside from working on technical skills, people need to also work on their soft skills and interpersonal skills. It's probably not a very fun advice to give, but I think that it could benefit everyone and anyone, not even just people who want to come into game dev. I think it's just for everyone, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Well, you heard it from the community manager herself. Once again, thank you very much for Scythia for joining us today on this lovely Dev Talk.
Thank you.
And yeah, I guess the community will see more of you in the social media, in the streams.
And in the Outlands too.
And in the Outlands as well. So from everybody here, thank you for tuning in. Have a good one. And we'll see you in the next episode. And until then, take care and see you in the Outlands.
See ya. Bye.
Bye-bye.